Perfect. Thank you, Anne. Hi, everyone. It's great to be with you. I am Matthew Young. I'm one of the founders for Doowii, and I'm based in Salt Lake City. I think we were sending out, where we're all based, and I didn't add that to the chat. Doowii is the first native Gen AI data platform. It's built specifically for educators and education data. I want you to meet Olivia. She's a university leader dealing with some issues, student retention, for instance. And she wants a report to help her understand what those issues are, how big they are, really to inform her decision-making process, help her understand what her response should be, and really help her develop the strategies to respond. She might ask for a report on enrollment, potentially some information from key systems, how students are logging in or how often. She might ask for academic performance reports, maybe even some financial needs reports. All for the student population to identify potential issues, trends, and opportunities. So she sends the request to the data team. The amount of work needed to respond to Olivia depends on the technology, the systems, and the people who are available. And they may need to do a lot of work, which could cause some delays in other projects or just for Olivia herself to get the report. In some cases, this means going into individual systems, pulling the data together, and then merging that into a separate report in some other tool. Or maybe the university has a data warehouse and they can skip a few steps here. But ultimately, someone is going to have to spend their time to create this report, and it's taking days or sometimes weeks. So days to weeks later, Olivia gets the analysis that she requested, and then what inevitably happens? Well, she has follow-up questions. So for instance, she might ask for a pivot based off of student demographics, or she might say, you know what, let's include information from our CRM and some of our recruiting efforts. Or she might say, expand the date range for all these reports. I want to see multi-year trends. And so the process starts again, unfortunately. That's where Doowii comes in. We want to take this whole process, these cycles, from weeks down to moments, not months. Doowii integrates with all the key systems and data sources higher education institutions are already using, the systems that you rely on. We have an AI optimized data ingestion and a managed warehouse that really accelerates the insights discovery and proactively identifies and fixes data quality issues. The goal here is to enable every educator to get the most value from their data, and to do it through a self-service natural language solution that speaks your language. So let me show you a little bit about what Doowii can do. When a user visits our website, when they visit our application, they are empowered to talk with your data. You can think of it as an AI-powered data scientist, facilitating some of these conversations and joining your team. So you submit your natural language questions in this window, and then once we get the question, we do all the heavy lifting. So if you're not sure what to ask, actually you can see here, we have a couple suggested questions. All these questions are generated by our agent, and it's based on the systems and the data that we're connected to. When a question is submitted, our model analyzes the question. Really, it's there to understand the context of the question and then confirm that it has the relevant data to answer it accurately. If we don't have the right data, we'll let you know and suggest some questions that we can answer. Once we confirm that we have the right data, we generate the SQL, we query the data, we write a short analysis, we explain our methodology, and then we generate the visualizations. And it's all done automatically. It happens in less than a minute. For some of our power users, for some of you on the call that really love digging into the data, we actually allow you to directly view and edit the SQL queries as well, and then save your edits directly to the analysis for later use. And we've made it really easy to create charts and graphs based on the data that you've queried. That way you can summarize and share it with other people on your team. This is done simply through a couple clicks. You highlight the columns that you want to put into a chart, and we'll let you know which charts can be created based off of the data that you've highlighted. Currently, we have bar and pie charts, line graphs, and scatter plots, and we're continually expanding the charting capabilities on our platform, so you can present the data the way you want, the way you need. Once you've found the data or the view that you like, the view that you need, you can save it later. You save it for later and add it to our pin board. Or you can download it to your computer, depending on your preference. Once you have it on the pin board, we make it really easy for you to group the data and group the charts that you've generated. You can quickly build your own dashboards from scratch. So this is a no-code platform. It doesn't require you to do a lot of the heavy lifting that some of the other analytics platforms require. So the way that educators are using Doowii does vary. It varies based on the data that we're sitting on, the data that we're ingesting, as well as some of the specific institutional requirements. However, we have seen a few common questions and trends in the way that our platform is being used. So first, we're seeing leaders review system usage and the impact of those systems. They want to understand how their tools are being used, where they might provide additional training, and when potentially the tool isn't being used effectively, and they can reprioritize some of that budget. We see questions related to student and faculty growth and expansion. We have features native in our platform that allow you to run more complex forecasting models, and really it's to help you understand some of your historical trends and where the university might grow. And then one of the main groups of questions that we see, it relates to students. And so whether that's recruitment, performance, retention, graduation, and a whole host of other questions, we see questions that group the students based off of different pivots, or working to try and find different gaps or potential issues, or we see use cases where they need educators need to find a specific list of students or a specific student in particular and get a lot of data about that one student to help counselors and educators provide better services for that student. And last, we're seeing Doowii used for a lot of compliance reporting, both for state and federal reporting, as well as internal policy compliance. So if you've published a program or a set of requirements for your professors or for your students, we see a lot of folks asking specific questions tailored to the policies and programs that you have in place. Doowii is really flexible, and it allows every educator to ask the questions that they have burning inside of them and better get access to that data. So just to recap, Doowii is democratizing data access and insights discovery. We want to make sure every educator can get the most value from the data and the systems that you're using. Our platform is built to be really intuitive, straightforward. It's a no-code platform, but for the power users, like I mentioned, you can start submitting your own SQL to it as well and making some changes. We translate all of your natural language questions into data queries and insights. And the outcomes, our solution is accelerating reporting timelines. We're saving you time, we're saving you budget. We reduce the number of cycles that you have to go through. We're empowering each educator to get into their data. And ultimately, it's to help educators, help school leaders achieve their goals and educate students. So with that, I'm happy to hear any feedback that you have or any questions, and thank you for your time.